Go. What's happening? Anything happening? Anything go on? Any games happen? Anybody win? Anybody lose? What's happening? Welcome in on this Reaction Monday. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Feel free to hit them up, favrates.com. The reason I call them hometown heroes is because if you have your insurance with Farm Bureau and something happens, goodness sakes, we hope not, but if it does, when it does, something happens maybe at an odd time or not, you've got someone you know personally, face-to-face. You have a cell phone number. You just text them, you call them. They're on it right away with you because there's that one-on-one relationship you get with your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. Kind of like you get here with me on the show. Just one-on-one, we get to talk, right? Like you can text me, you can comment on the live stream. It's like we're talking. We're used to doing that now in 2020. Not via voice, via text in some shape, form, fashion. But, of course, you can call me on the Davini phone. We'll open that up for you here as well on Reaction Monday. So, what'd you think? Ole Miss didn't get to play this past week. Mississippi State did. State played a lot better than a lot of people, hand up, thought that they would against a talented Georgia team. Georgia, too, I mean, for them, think about what Georgia came out of the weekend thinking. Man, if we just had this quarterback the whole year, then what? Right? What's his name? JT Daniels? Whew. I thought he was good now. I thought he was really good because State's defense totally made Georgia one-dimensional. State just absolutely shut down any and all running game for Georgia. Totally put the game one-dimensionally on the shoulders of that quarterback who had not played in a game yet this year. And he was good. Not only hit the big plays down the field. Now, the first couple he underthrew and got a pass interference that really helped him. But outside of that, he was really good. Pinpoint on the deep ball. They made some great catches. But then also third down passing, you couldn't get JT Daniels off the field because third down, his decisions were so good and then accurate with the ball. But at the same time, State was really good on third downs. I think what was an interesting stat coming out of the game, JT Daniels was 10 of 11 passing on third down. Will Rogers was 9 of 11 passing on third down. Way deep into the game, it was sometime in the third quarter, but I know the halftime stat was this. At halftime, both quarterbacks were perfect passing on third down. Will Rogers had gone 7 for 7 on third down in the first half, and JT Daniels was 3 of 3 on first down. A third down in the first half. And, but still, you think about it. Between the two of them, they threw the ball 22 times on third downs, and it fell incomplete 3 total times the whole game. I mean, it was two teams going at it. I mean, it really was. For 3 quarters, State was more physical on the line of scrimmage, I thought, than Georgia for the most part. Well, certainly State's defensive front was more physical on the line of scrimmage than Georgia's offensive front. Pretty much the whole game. That's what made Georgia's offense one-dimensional. State's offensive line was really physical, held them out, did a nice job for really 3 quarters, and then it was almost like Georgia was able to kind of wear them down and then started to get it and be able to make a few plays up front in the fourth quarter when they absolutely had to. But one more thought on it. Here's the thing. When you take an offense and totally take one aspect of their offense away, you completely make them one-dimensional, then it's supposed to be really hard for that one dimension to function at a high level. I guarantee you, with a quarterback playing in the game who had not played yet this year, I guarantee you Mississippi State's plan was defend the run, defend the run, defend the run, defend the run, put the game on his shoulders. He hadn't played yet. Make him one-dimensional. Don't let him beat you running the ball. Make him beat you throwing it. They did it, and he just beat them. That's how good JT Daniels was. It's one of those games where as a defense, it's like Daniels and his offense and State and the defense meet at midfield after the game to shake hands, and they both go, hey, man, hats off. Y'all did a great job. and you shake their hand and say, listen, our plan was to put the game on your shoulders, and we didn't know if you could beat us. You did. Great job. Throwing and catching. 400 yards and 4 touchdowns without any running game at all. And it's, again, everybody at that level who plays quarterback is talented. Everybody has a big arm. It's like the other day, look, don't believe everything you see on Twitter. Or you can believe it, I guess, whatever, but be careful about going too far. Think about this. I saw a thing on Twitter the other day where ESPN puts a clip out there of the quarterback from it was BYU. That's who it is. And he's got Zach, whatever his name is. He's playing really well. And it showed a play where he let the ball go at about his own 20-yard line, and the ball was caught out there at the other 20-yard line. It's about a 60-yard throw in the air. That's a big throw, obviously. And they go, boy, his arm strength is no joke. And I thought to myself, I wanted to tell them, you may not understand this, but just about every starting quarterback in all of Division I college football can throw a football 60 yards at least. Okay, so letting it go on the 20 and having it come down at the other 20 is like routine warm-ups in practice for every Division I quarterback. It's not really a show of strength. Now, if he throws it 80 or 90 in the air, now he's done something that very few people can do. So everybody at that level is talented. They all have the athletic ability, or they wouldn't be there to begin with. His deal was, even though he hadn't played in the game, his decision-making on third downs. State made it easy for him some because there was a lot of zero coverage, trying to get there. They blocked it up, and he's picking out man-to-man routes. But decision-making, accuracy, I was really impressed with him. But I was also impressed with Will Rogers. He just seems to be getting better and getting better and getting better. All right. So let's get it started on Reaction Monday this way. As I get to your comments, I'm going to pour a mug full of coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, High Point Roasters and highpointroasters.com. It's still hot. I made it this morning. I want to say hey to JB. JB, how was your weekend?
Man, wonderful.
Yeah?
Wonderful. Had a great time with family, friends, hanging out, cooking out, eating a bunch. And then did a little work yesterday out at the golf course. So beautiful day out there.
Yeah, it's gotten a little cooler here for a couple of days, but that's all right. We kind of expect that this time of year. We'll talk some high school football. Look ahead to the North and South Half Championship matchups this weekend. And then you get into championship football next. All of that. And then you've got comments and stuff coming out today on this Monday from coaches. They're having a weekly teleconference or press conferences, I should say. You don't have a release for the kickoff times for games of December the 5th. They're holding on to it. They're going to hold it all the way through Sunday. So right now, LSU and Ole Miss or State versus Missouri, we don't have start times. We won't have those until this weekend. They're going to hold it into that 6-day window for whatever reason that they want to do that. But right now, I want to get to your reactions and just kind of free for all on this Reaction Monday, see what y'all are saying. Let me remind you of the numbers first. If you would like to call the show, I hope you will. Love to hear your voice today on Reaction Monday, your thoughts, opinions, otherwise. On the Davini phone, Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. Dial me up, 601-995-1059. That's a 601 number, 995-1059. Call me, Davini Equipment. All right, text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN, 885-ESPN. Here's the number, 885-3776. You text that number, it'll come in here. We might read it on the air. And then if you're watching the live stream, any of the places, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, feel free to comment. It'll all come here to one place, and I can see all of it, okay? So let's start with what's up on Facebook. Norman says, good grief, Matt. Is that powder blue and red hat on Egg Bowl week? No, man, your TV's messed up or whatever. That's like a...
What's that lime green?
It's not lime. It's teal. It's like a... It's not blue. It's green. It's like a teal, green. I don't know. It's green. But it is a red hog on there. Joy says, hate week. Sven, hey, listen, I got my hats off to Sven commenting early here on the live stream. He might have been one of the few, maybe the only I can remember last week that kept telling us, hey, the State and Georgia game is going to be closer than people think. Sven, so here you go. Literally, hats off to you. Good job. You tried to tell us. All right, Brandon watching the live stream says, hey, Matt, Georgia Dog here. You guys played a heck of a game on Saturday. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Brandon. It was a fun game to watch, right down into the fourth quarter, a little excitement for the people that were there. And it was that limited capacity, just like it is everywhere. But Georgia, the way they had them spaced out, the fans, it still gave you a sense you were at a real ball game, So my hat's off also to Georgia for the way they put the fans in there and make sure you can have a crowd. Sven said Rogers was good and the front was outstanding. Tony Joe said hats off to the team, Coach Leach, and the coaching staff. Good showing. We lost, but we were very competitive. Yeah, and the whole moral victory thing, there's a lot of people going, good job, played hard, really did, had the numbers kind of against them. Not really surprised that they, in some ways, just a few spots, a few times seemed to sort of wear out in the fourth quarter. Yeah, and just playing fewer people. Maybe that did happen. I don't know that the defense necessarily looked worn out, to be honest with you. It's got beat by some good players a few times on offense. You give up 4 really explosive plays. The Georgia getting explosive plays in the pass game. But State was going man-to-man and, challenging them to hit them, and they did. Coach Nick says, Matt, that was a good game, one of the best I've seen all year. It was, competitive. It wasn't a sloppy. Neither team turned the ball over. Both teams making play. It was just a good game. As a State fan, you hate that State came up on the short end. But that's what I was going to say to the earlier comment. It kind of speaks to how, stagnant the offense and everything had looked at times this year, that even coming out of a loss, there's a lot of State fans today on Monday going, phew, boy, it sure is a relief to watch that. 17, yeah. So 3 offensive touchdowns and a field goal. Sheila said the name is Will Rogers, our QB for the future. Awesome game. Good to see y'all. Keep the comments coming. All right, here we go. On this Reaction Monday, Country Please and text line. Country Please and sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please. Anthony says, okay, we lost, but it wasn't as bad as you thought. You don't have to eat crow, but at least taste the sauce. That's from Anthony. Yeah, Anthony, I'll tell you what, I didn't have a whole lot of hope in State playing that well. Didn't see it coming. A lot of it had to do with low numbers, but I learned a lesson. I started feeling it, though, the day of. When I walked in the stadium, I had to drive over there Saturday morning, and it's easy enough drive. Only ran into a little bit of traffic in Atlanta because it was a weekend. Drive up to campus. Really, Georgia's got a beautiful campus. All of them are. I find myself saying that a lot. The fact is, all the campuses are pretty. They are. And parked, and I'm walking up to the stadium, and that's when it hit me. Like I walk in, I can see the field, and I was like I needed that in-person reminder that you see the field, it's all painted up, and then the spark hits in your head, and you remember what it's like to play. And the idea that you've got more players than us, you're going, who cares? That's no excuse. We put 11 out there at a time. Let's go play. We're here to play a game. So they got in there and played. I think there was an element, too, of State had a lot of young guys who were really shot out of a cannon at the beginning of that game. Physically, they were intense. They were fired up because of getting to play. Like you're wearing a uniform, and you're not just there to, go in and if you get up by 30 or if you get down by 30. You're there to actually play meaningful snaps, and I think it fired some guys up. Young guys played well. Cam Young, defensive lineman, played really well. Nathaniel Watson, number 14, the linebacker, sophomore, had to play the outside position, hadn't really practiced there or played there, but he had to go play there and did pretty well. All right, unnamed texter says, Leak Academy Rebels, won the MAIS Class 5A state championship, finished 13-0. Hats off to Leak. Rebel Ghost Rider says, fancy pants uniform will y'all be wearing this week? Oh, what fancy you forgot the word what. And he typed it earlier this morning. What fancy pants uniform will MSU wear this week? I don't know. That is a good question. If they have super duper Egg Bowl uniforms, I don't know. I haven't seen or read or heard anything about it.
Not that you're really interested either, are you?
No, I don't really care. I mean, paint them all gold. So what? As long as they look different and we can read the numbers from the press box, so what?
That's right.
Let's see. Tiger David says, LSU won in all caps with 3 exclamation points. Hey, yeah, they did. They did. Hey, JB, as I was driving to Athens on Saturday, I was listening, because it was an 11 a.m. game, I was listening to LSU and Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to the Arkansas broadcast. And at one point, they go to the sideline guy. And the Arkansas broadcaster goes, hey, and he calls his name and he says, it looks like I see people pulling out the ponchos and covering up. You must have some rain falling down there. And the guy did this. He goes, he's on the sideline. He goes, yeah, we got a little bit of participate. And then he paused and he thought and he went, yeah, it's raining down here.
He pulled a Jake Wimberly.
He pulled a Jake. He was thinking precipitation. He started to say participation. Yeah. He stopped himself and couldn't think of it and just said, yeah, it's raining.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's even better when you hear it live.
That's right. And it's not you making the mistake.
Exactly. Yeah, we're getting some participate. Yeah, it's raining. Ready Teddy says, moral victories do mean something. If I fought Mike Tyson and didn't get killed, that would be a moral victory. Oh, yeah? I guess so. I mean, but moral, why do they call it moral? All right, Bigglesworth on the Country Pleasing text says, were those black Georgia jerseys with the fake spiked collars as awesome in person as they looked on TV? I didn't even notice it, Bigglesworth. That's the first I realized Georgia had on black jerseys. Rebel Tiger Dog. We've talked about him before. Rebel Tiger Dog. I don't know where it is. Just try the basket. If it's not in the basket, Andy, look in the car. She's looking for my wallet. Rebel Tiger Dog says, to start this Thanksgiving week, I'd like to say I'm so thankful for my son, a senior defensive end number 17, Jarrett Watkins at Link Academy. The Rebels going out with a perfect 13-0 season and state champs. Congrats to all the players and coaches. Proud dad, could not ask for a better ending. Man, cool. Yeah, 13-0.
Pretty cool. Yep. Them and JA. Yeah.
Yeah. You mean MRA?
Yeah, I was thinking Jay got beat. Yeah. By the way, that score was pretty close.
It was. Well, I noticed that. It was very lopsided.
41-14.
41-14. Derek, Country Pleasing text, says, with every game we're getting closer to baseball season. Derek is a big baseball fan. Yeah, but Derek, I hate to be that guy, but what kind of baseball season are we going to have? A full one? Fans, yes, no? Just ask him. Brian, watching the live stream, brings up an interesting point. Instead of moral victory, he says it should be morale victory. A morale victory. Put an E on the end.
Yeah.
Because it's a loss that boosts morale.
Right.
Can you think of any legit examples of losses that were morale boosters?
Yes.
I can too. I mean, they exist. I've heard.
Or certain things that serve as morale boosters.
Yeah.
I.e. the bloody sock.
Yeah, sure. Right. I've heard others, but I remember hearing Scott Strickland. He was the AD at the time, 2013, when State went to College Station. It was Johnny Manziel's last year. Dak Prescott went. He was a quarterback. 2013. This is before he got hurt. Played, State got after him, scored a bunch of points, kind of went up and down the field, but Manziel and them pulled it out at the end. But even though it was a loss, I remember hearing others, but also Scott was telling me that there was something about that game. I could sense it on the sideline and afterwards, that there was some kind of signal in that game to our team that everything was going the direction it was supposed to go, and they were much better after that. And then you win the Egg Bowl, then you win a bowl game blowing out, and then a year later you're number one in the country for a while in terms of your ranking because you beat LSU and beat Auburn. And he pointed back to something in that loss, but the way they played at Texas A&M in 2013 as being the spark for all of that. So, I think there is something to it. There's some examples. But it has to play out to see if it actually was a meaningful morale victory. Okay.
Doesn't sound as good.
That's right, it doesn't. State this week is trying to do something in the Egg Bowl that it has only done once since the game started playing back on the college campuses, way back when Jackie Sherrill got the job at the beginning of that decade of the 90s. State's only done this once the whole time. They're trying to do it again. I'll tell you what it is next. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys will.
Here comes Matt Wyatt up to the plate. The pitch. Whoa! It's a high fly.
Knocking them out of the park for great sports talk.
I'm talking way back.
It's the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone.
All right. Back with you, rolling along. We're really just getting started with you here on this Reaction Monday. Y'all text me, call me. Let's see the text number, 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. Call me on the Divinity phone, 995-1059. 601-995-1059. Yeah, here's the stat for you. Okay, and I looked this up over at Winsipedia.com. If you're watching the live stream, you can actually see it right here. See it? Winsipedia.com. It's just wins, the letter I, pedia.com. You can compare any two teams in the country, any matchup. It'll give you the historical wins and losses. You can look at a chronological timeline, so it shows you kind of the ebbs and flows in the series. Or you can look at a whole list. And it's a really neat resource. You start looking up stuff like this. So I was thinking this morning, here it is Monday, Egg Bowl week. State is trying to win 3 in a row. Trying to. 2 years ago in Oxford, not close. It was 35-3. Last year in Starkville, really close. 21-20. Some might say that Ole Miss sort of it away at the end. They certainly just kick an extra point, tie it, go to overtime. Could have won a game. Anyway, State's won 2 in a row. So they're trying to win 3 in a row. Since the Egg Bowl moved back to playing it on campus, which is a big deal, home and away, go to Oxford, go to Starkville. And I think that started in 91. Both teams have won 3 in a row, one time each. Ole Miss won 3 in a row in 02, 03, 04. State returned the favor in 09, 10, and 11. 3 in a row. That's it. Now, if you go back before that, before the games moved to campus, back when it was in Jackson, there were 2 stretches in the 80s. Yeah, really 2 stretches over the course of a decade where Ole Miss won back in the 80s 7 of 8. Okay, so there was a 4-game stretch and a 3-game stretch in there, with State winning 1 in the middle. And then you can kind of go back to the 70s and find some 60s dominated by Ole Miss, 30s and 40s kind of dominated by State. Certainly 100 years ago in the teens, in the 1920s, State won 13 in a row, so it's a lot different back then. But since it came to campus, this is really rare. It's really hard. Nobody's won 4 in a row in this series since they started playing it on the college campuses. But again, one time each. State won 3 in a row, 9, 10, 11. Ole Miss won 3 in a row, 2, 3, 4. Let's go to Divinia Equipment phone line. Divinia Equipment in Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. Any kind of, you know what I'm talking about here, like toys for men. Tractors, ATVs. It could be big things like that, tractors, ATVs, mowers, things that run on gas. Right on into like things that help you climb trees, things that help you sit up in trees and shoot deer. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Anything like that.
We lost him. He'll call back.
All right, call us back, Lynn. Then it gave me a chance, though, to hit my Tim the Tool Man.
We did have a caller that he did not want to come on air, didn't have time, but he wanted to know your thoughts on the quote-unquote hashtag 49 Warriors and how that might have a positive impact on recruiting as recruits see these guys and how they're committed to the program. And also he mentioned, that Leach said from the very beginning, we're going to find whoever it is that wants to play and do it our way. And he wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all positive for now. You need to win. The point is to win, and we get that. It's sort of taken a little bit of a moral victory out of the whole thing, and we've covered that. Sometimes that's a real thing. So, I mean, I think it's only a positive. It can't hurt. My opinion is that recruiting is a lot more, I think, what's the right word here? There's really one of two things. Recruits are going places either A, because they get loaded up, by some booster somewhere, or they're making the decision based on, very more real factors than things that they see on Twitter and stuff. And I know that that's a constant argument out there, is how much does social media have an impact on recruits in their, decision-making process. I think it's overblown. I really do. I honestly believe this. This is sort of an old guy opinion, but I think hashtags and social media stuff, if a recruit would allow that to sway them one way or the other, I'm not sure you really want that recruit. I'm just going to be honest with you. Or at least if you get them, you got to get them out of that mindset, I think, ultimately. Okay, but to I think the deeper point, so that's the social media part of it, but to the deeper point of 49 scholarship players that might lock arms together and go out here and exceed expectations and be tougher and play a lot of snaps and all that. Yeah, sure, that can be attractive. But the biggest thing is, even before you see what kind of impact that has on recruiting, the biggest thing is it can be sort of a beginning type moment. Some might argue that, if you, to use his word and not mine, if you have a little bit of a purge and certain players quit and certain players opt out and other players get cut and others get encouraged to leave, and you finally kind of whittle this thing down to a nucleus, a tightly wound nucleus of, what you're getting from an effort and attitude standpoint from this group of players every time out. Well, if you can whittle that down and pack that in real tight, we got that every week, and now we can add guys around it to make it work. So, yeah, it can be a positive. Lynn is back on the Davini Equipment phone. What's up, Lynn?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Just right. What's up?
Man, I can't hardly hear you. I was just wondering what you thought about if Georgia's deep linebackers seem to kind of play a little further back than we've seen in weeks past, and that was just something maybe they did wrong, or if maybe we just figured some things out. And, man, I'm going to get off and listen because I can't hardly hear you. I enjoy the show, brother.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Appreciate the call. Yeah, there was some of that. There were some times, some instances where Georgia even gave up some first downs on the underneath throw to the running back and stuff when they really were getting some depth. But I do think if we go back and we watch some early stuff in the game, there was a throw up the hash in the middle of the field to Jaden Wally early on a longer completion. Later in the game, you had one of those to Austin Williams and a few of those. And what it is he did it some. Will Rogers did that some against not a ton, but he did it some pretty proficiently in the early part of the Vanderbilt game. And I think it's watching a film going, okay, this kid, a true freshman, is getting a little better at seeing windows at this next level, that intermediate level behind a linebacker's head, even when we're in zone. And he took it a little bit against Vandy. Now we're in the game. He took it against us in the first quarter. Now he's taking it again. So we're talking during the game, Lynn, going, hey, when we get 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8, if we call this and we're telling you to drop, you got to get depth. You've got to get back there and close that intermediate off. We got a better chance of coming up and hitting the running back and stopping him than we do him finding the window over your shoulder or between you because you haven't dropped deep enough. You see, it's an X's and O's thing, and it's a bend, don't break thing for a defense. And as the quarterback, what you're seeing is as the quarterback gets a little better at it and the offense starts to get a little more proficient at it more and more, then when you're game planning against it, watching film, and then you get in the game, there are situations when you're saying, drop, get depth on your drop in this zone and force him to come underneath. If you come up and miss that tackle or he squeezes through for a first down, okay, but at least we didn't give up a 15-yarder. And I think that's kind of what was going on. It's just like I've been talking about ever since week 2, is the way that offense works is when the quarterback really is operating it and starts to get really good at anticipating where my windows are, especially at the next level. I'm taking it more. I'm throwing it in there more. Then it gets the defense out of more often. It gets them out of this just drop everybody back because I'm picking them apart. Okay? Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Especially from the beginning of the Vanderbilt game, but really from the word go. Rodgers has done a better job of reading underneath and getting the ball out quickly and accurately underneath against zone. Therefore, he has seen more man-to-man and blitz and trying to get after him a little bit. He's seen more of that than KJ Costello did in any of the games Arkansas and A&M and Kentucky combined because he wasn't getting the ball out and forcing him to get out of it.
Yeah, it's a big difference. So let me ask you this. You're going back to recruiting for just a couple seconds before we go to break. Any chance we pick up Wally's brother, who was named the Gatorade Player of the Year? 6A, I should say, not Gatorade, but High School Player of the Year for 6A?
Yeah. I don't have any idea.
It'd be nice. Yeah. Brothers come up there, wideouts on the same team.
I need to get somebody like Steve on here and ask him a bunch of recruiting questions. He knows and follows it. Let's get somebody who knows about it on here. All right, it's Monday. Here we go. Stick around.
This is Jake Mangum for
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first one.
On 105.9 The Zone.
All right. Here we go. More examples of this kind of thing, just pointing out. I mean, State was really short on players in the game against Georgia. State officials told us before the game 49 were there on scholarship. They had 59 total. It was 59 or 50. I think it was 59 total. You can have 70. You can bring 70 players to a road game, but they have 59. So they're missing some depth, obviously, and you had several guys on defensive front that played more snaps than you would like for them to, but it worked out. They played well. So, a lot of teams dealing with some of that, different numbers. Here's an example. Ed Orgeron, LSU, says that LSU, had 69 scholarship players that traveled to Arkansas. Arkansas had 56 in the ballgame. That was a home game, right? So you compare like State's on the road with 49, LSU's on the road with 69. Arkansas was at home with 56. So, I mean, everybody's dealing with a little bit of it. But here's the thing that I think everybody needs to understand. That most people do, some don't. But, for instance, some folks say, well, wait a minute. State didn't play against Auburn because they didn't have the numbers, but did play against Georgia even though they didn't have the numbers. What's the difference? Well, I think we should pay less attention to the overall number of players dressing out or traveling or available to you, because you only have to put 11 on the field at a time. It's not that simple, though. It's positionally. Yes, and the SEC's put out thresholds. You have to have a minimum of 1 scholarship quarterback, a minimum of 7 scholarship offensive linemen, like a minimum of 4 scholarship defensive linemen. Well, like what got State against Auburn was they didn't have enough offensive linemen. They did not have enough offensive linemen eligible for the game to play. See, so it's a positional thing that's going to cancel or has canceled or postponed these games more so than overall number stuff. Because as we saw this past week, a school can petition the SEC and go, hey, look, we're low on, numbers overall, but we got enough at every position to play. We want to go ahead and play. And look, 99 out of 100 times, regardless of what Coach Kiffin might have said, 99 out of 100 times, these teams, if they've got enough guys at each position to go out here and play a football game, they're going to go play. They want to play. None of them want to not play. So it's not that their overall scholarship numbers and available players are fluctuating. It's that sometimes teams will look up and go, we don't have enough offensive linemen. We got plenty of everybody else, but we got 5. You're supposed to have 7. We can't go into a game with just 5. One guy gets hurt. We don't have anybody to sub. So that's what you have to remember on that. Jimmy on Twitter says, listening to Kirby, they allowed the underneath stuff because they were counting on us making a mistake. They felt like if they were patient, our quarterback would get impatient with taking those shorter throws and make that mistake. And that's the name of the game. That is absolutely the name of the game. And if you remember, Jimmy, they had one opportunity the whole game to pick the football off. And it was a great job by their safety. They basically, it's like robbers, like in nickel, okay? And they give you this look. Here's what they do. They give you this look that's like it's 3 safeties back there. And what it is 2 of them are going to go back and play quarters deep, a quarter of the field, another quarter of the field. And the other one's going to come over here and play half the field deep, okay? But on the snap, they just run 2 of them out, and the other one comes running up, hoping you'll bring your eyes back to the middle and try to throw that route in the middle while not seeing him. And that's exactly what happened. He jumped it and then didn't catch the ball. But that really wasn't a patience thing. It's where they're baiting the freshman quarterback into a throw. Part of the reason State was in the game and didn't turn it over, one, because he dropped it, but also because the quarterback's being patient and just kind of taking what they give him. And he had some run game mixed in there at the right time, too. Not a whole lot, but frankly, more than Georgia had. But Georgia just had more speed on the outside, number one. Number 2, they got more one-on-one zero coverage with a chance to go to the outside, and they took it. All right, Country Please and text line 885-3776. Derek was talking about baseball season. I said, I don't know if we're going to have one or go to the games or what. I don't know. But he says at least the bass will be on the bed by then. That's right. Yeah, what? South Mississippi, they'll be bedding in February. Central Mississippi, some in March. The rest of us up this way, it'll be April for sure, for the most part anyway. Look forward to that. Water gets clear. You can see them. It's pretty cool. Unnamed texter said, I have your, what does it say? Letter. I have your letter for Steve-O. What is this? I don't know what that is. Jason in Flagstaff says, when State lost to LSU in Mullen's first year, that was a morale win. You knew at that moment the Kroom era was gone. That's a good point. They should have won the game. They really should have. State really outcoached Les Miles and his bunch on that particular day, but Miles had the players. For sure. Hey, JB, speaking of Thanksgiving week, did you know that today is National Eat a Cranberry Day?
I did not know that. Man.
It says a cranberry. It didn't say cranberry sauce.
I don't think I'll be eating one. I may have a little cranberry juice later, but I'm not going to have a cranberry.
Yeah, I don't mind them.
I like the Cranberries. A good band.
Jason,
hey, man, did you see what I tagged you on the tweet?
No.
From the Flying M?
No, what happened?
On this day, Matt Wyatt scored a game-tying touchdown at Arkansas. I think the stat sheet said you were 9 for 14, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Okay, let me look at it.
But State lost the game 16-13.
I'm clicking on it. Okay, here we go. 96. Quarterback sneak with 37 seconds left. Tied the game. State lost to Arkansas in overtime, 16-13 at Scott Field. Says I was
24 years ago, young Matt.
24 years ago. Gracious alive.
What are you, just 20? You were 20 years old then, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to. No, I'd have been 19. I was 19 then. I wasn't 20 yet. I'm trying to think of that game. So 96, Arkansas overtime at Scott Field. Okay. Yeah, one of those touchdowns was to Matt Butler. Imagine that. I don't remember, but one of them. I didn't know I threw 2 in that game.
That may just be counting your rushing touchdown there.
That must have been it. Yeah, that must have been it.
Yeah.
You know what I remember about that quarterback sneak too was it was all bunched up in the middle, so I jumped up in the air and extended the ball over the goal line,
right,
in the air, and pulled it back. And when I got to the sideline, Coach Sherrill was like, "Don't ever do that again."
Just pulled a Drew Brees.
He said, "Stay on the ground and go forward. You're going to knock the ball out."
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about overtime.
Well, your hands are as big as your tootsies, and you got big hands. That's all I know. And that football probably looks like a little, what do they call the small footballs for the little kids?
Yeah, the junior ones.
Yeah,
the junior ones. I had one fumble my whole career. Now, it's not like I was playing every single snap of my whole career. I did play all 4 years, and I played a lot of games. But the big hands do help. I didn't ever have an issue hanging on the ball. And the one time I did fumble it, we were playing at South Carolina. It was the first game I ever started, actually, at South Carolina that same year in '96. And I decided to run. Like, I step up and I start running. I think I had the ball in my right arm. Is that right? Left arm? No, I might have had it in my left arm. And I'm running, and this safety comes up and hits me, and his helmet comes across and hits the football, like just right into the ball. And it didn't just fumble, JB.
Went straight up in the air?
It shot straight up in the air, out there about 15 yards, like somebody shot it out of a cannon. Pew! Yeah, you don't see too many fumbles like that. All right, let's see. JC on the Country Pleasing text. 885-3776 says the team of 49 guys that went to Athens are like the highway project on Highway 49. It won't quit.
That's pretty good.
I love it. It's a pretty good analogy. Res Dog says, regarding recruiting in the 49, it says it may not sway a recruit, but it could reassure current commits to stick it out. Yeah, again, I mean, maybe so, yeah. Justin Wally is a cornerback going to Minnesota, supposedly. Okay, so that's Jaden's younger brother.
I just don't see him going there. I just don't see him.
That's a long way from home. It's cold up there now.
Well, and PJ, they're not sure what's going to happen with him this year either.
Mm-hmm.
So.
How do you row the boat on a frozen lake? That's all I want to know.
You pick it up and run.
All right. Let's see. Unnamed texter said Ole Miss scoring 48 on Bama was a morale booster. Yeah, I think you're right. Got them all on board of what the offense was going to be. I mean, you need something like that, don't you? Rebel Rex says, hey, Matt, do you think State or Ole Miss will get recruits from South Carolina with Muschamp getting fired, or maybe Tennessee if they remove or fire or move on from Pruitt? See, again, I don't think anything in recruiting is as on the surface as we try to make it be sometimes. Recruiting is much less local and regional than it used to be. Just like a kid from the Gulf Coast that y'all are telling me is going to Minnesota. I mean, maybe it opens the door to slip in there and strengthen a relationship to get them away. But you only do that if you've already built a relationship. That's what I think. All right, Anthony and others on the text line, I'm coming to y'all. We're going to continue Reaction Monday next in hour 2. Stay with me.
I'm John Morgan.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
Zone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, here we go. Reaction Monday, hour 2 has just begun. And we're really just scratching the surface, I believe, at what is out there coming out of the weekend. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance. Hometown heroes, that's your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Y'all text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-3776. You know, storylines are pretty obvious. It's Egg Bowl week. No Thursday game. It's kind of hard to get used to having that game on a Saturday. Was it on Saturday last year? No, it was on Thanksgiving last year. So anyway, it's on Saturday this year. It'll be in Oxford. It's Monday, middle of the day. I don't even know what the kickoff time is. Anybody know what time it kicks? 3 o'clock. That's it. 3, I forgot. So an afternoon game on Saturday. So it is Egg Bowl week. Then we're kind of coming out of the weekend. It's interesting that in spite of the loss to Georgia, State fans kind of feeling a little better about the team as a whole just because, you know, State went in there and played so hard. Defensively, they won the line of scrimmage for the majority of the ball game. They couldn't stop JT Daniels from completing the deep ball to some of those Georgia receivers. You know, State had a couple of 3 plays they made where they batted the ball away and didn't give it up, but they just kept going to it, kept going to it, and they hit them. You know, 4 of them in the end zone and a couple of others too. He finishes with 400 yards. I just thought he made plays. But State was really good in the game. Didn't turn the ball over on offense. State did not see a ton of man-to-man, like straight up cover zero, that kind of stuff. Georgia was not going to give them those opportunities pretty much throughout the game. But they saw a little bit of it, and maybe a little more, and even a couple of pressure looks. And everybody since the A&M game has come in there and tried to replicate what A&M did and confusing State's protection by really only rushing 4, but they'll line people up, drop a couple, bring a couple. So it's still only 4, but confuse who we're blocking and still get there. A&M did it, and since then they've worked on it and gotten better. Other teams keep trying it. So Georgia did some of that. But there were some times in the game that because Will Rogers was getting the ball out quickly, especially early in the game, showing he could do it, they showed they could protect against 3, went up downfield, scored some, that Georgia then was forced to try a few different things. Again, Georgia never really lined up in zero coverage and said, we're coming, bringing the house. But they did mix and match and disguise a few things and try to bait him into some throws and then try to disguise some man-to-man and jump into man-to-man a few times more than other teams have. I thought the best throw and best play and throw to me that Will Rogers made in the game was, I believe it was on the, well, I can't remember specifically the time of the game. But anyway, it was the back shoulder throw to Osiris Mitchell for a first down. It was a 3rd down conversion. And the play right before that is when Jaden Wally had run the crossing route. Will Rogers threw it in there late. They left him wide open, and if Wally catches it, he just walks into the end zone, basically. But he turned his head. Remember, he dropped it. He kind of turned his head just before he caught it because he knows he's going to score, and he dropped it. So it was a drop. You know, it was basically a touchdown, and the kid drops it. And the very next play, he comes back. They show him one thing, disguise it, rotate it, and it is a matchup man over here on the near sideline to Osiris Mitchell. And without any hesitation, he catches the snap. He did not wait, throws it out there, a perfect strike to back shoulder to Osiris Mitchell, who turned his head, caught it, first down, and in either a play or 2 later they score. I thought that was probably the best play, best throw that Will made in the game. You know, considering the time and what it meant, and coming right after a play where it would be easy for a lot of people to go, come on, man, just drop a touchdown. No, he didn't let it bother him. Just on to the next one. Turn it loose. All right, your thoughts on all that. Y'all can call me as well on the Davini Equipment phone line, 995-1059. Let's see what we have on the text here. Country Pleasing Sausage, text line. Country Pleasing Sausage, hand-picked pure pork, ham, bacon, pork loin. That's what goes into Country Pleasing Sausage. Not any stuff, not any parts. Nope, just the good stuff. Unnamed texter says, I think that Arkansas game was the first overtime game for State, which went first in overtime, missed a field goal, and then somebody for Arkansas made his. So I'm at 96. 16-13 it makes sense. It was a couple of field goals there, right? Unnamed texter, what are the chances MSU wears white helmets with the flying M for the Egg Bowl?
I just happen to have that information, Matthew.
You have it?
I did some research after our first texter asked us about the unis. The State's won the last 2 games, right? And they've worn white helmets both times.
Yeah.
So it looks like they may go with the white helmet on the white jersey with that gray face mask that dipped in gray with the white flying M and some gray pants.
Oh, how do you know that?
I've been researching, man.
You must have an inside source in the equipment department or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it's called Hell State Unis, at Hell State Unis on Twitter.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you got your answer, folks. The Flying M white helmet.
That's what they're looking at. It's nothing definitive at this point, but that's what the money line is on, as my man Jake would say.
Okay. And gold shoes, bright.
No,
gold,
no
shiny.
gold. No, we're praying for no gold.
I know Notre Dame's got enough gold for all of us on their helmets. Their helmets are like shining little robot beacons bouncing around on the face of the earth. You can see them from space. Notre Dame's helmets are way too gold. Notre Dame's helmets are gaudy gold, like some cheap decoration you'd buy from Pier 1. You know, that's what it is. Like they used to actually have real, sure enough, like legit classic gold, old gold helmets with real, watch Rudy. They had real gold in the paint. It looked good. Now it looks like somebody went to Home Depot or to Hobby Lobby, bought up all the gold spray paint, and they've just spray painted all the Notre Dame helmets. They look terrible.
So you don't even think they went to the hardware store and get the Kilns Fast Dry? They went to they got craft paint.
That's it, craft paint. That's what it is, puff paint. They have painted their helmets with puffy paint from local kindergartens in the South Bend area. Start that rumor and tell them I sent you. All right.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Anthony from Tupelo says, I keep up with recruiting a little. It kind of sounds like the Wally kid could end up at State, but he really wants to make his own way and not just go to a school because his brother plays there. Yes, I can understand that. People over the years, too, they get all furious when some kid who's from that college town doesn't go to school there. And I'm
like Peyton?
Well, yeah, Peyton. But also, the one example I remember was Randall Cobb. See, Randall Cobb was from Knoxville, Tennessee.
I do remember.
And that rascal goes to Kentucky, and Tennessee's mad about it. But I'm like, the man spent his whole life there. He might want to live somewhere else for free. Same thing, A.J. Brown, and I know they're like, well, A.J. got money and cars. Well, first response to that is, well, who doesn't these days? The second thing is, he grew up, born and raised in Starkville, lived there his whole life. Maybe he just wants to live somewhere else.
Yeah, he kind of pulled a Breck Tyler, didn't he?
Yeah, he kind of did. Freddie Millens, I remember Freddie. Freddie was a big-time recruit from Starkville High School and went to Alabama. Didn't go to State. Sometimes people just don't want to go to school at the same place they grew up. It's to each his own,
Well, and I understand, if your brother's pretty exceptional, you don't want to be cast in his shadow all the time.
Sure, that's right.
I mean, you've lived with him for 18 years.
Who knows? They may not like each other, okay?
That's right.
A lot of times brothers can't stand each other.
Especially competitive.
Okay, here's an unnamed texter says, are either of the teams practicing in wet conditions? Is it supposed to rain at the Egg Bowl? Is that the forecast? Hang on.
Forecast for the weekend, 80% chance down here on Friday, which would make for a wet field up there. But I think that new grass field drains pretty, as they would say, doggone good.
Okay, so first you've got a source inside the Mississippi State Equipment Department. Now you have a source inside the Ole Miss grounds crew.
Well, I have to do weather every day when I open at Live Oaks.
Oh, do you?
So I'm just drilled in on what the weather's going to be for the week.
Yeah. So, there's a chance of rain. It may rain, so what? maybe it'll rain and get sloppy. Like we were talking about the 96 season earlier, JB, who you had that nugget on Twitter. The Egg Bowl, the 96 Egg Bowl was in Oxford, real grass back then, and it was a sloppy one. We won it 16-0 or 18-0, something like that. Our defense just totally shut them down. I'm trying to think. They had a running back, John, what was his name? The little guy that was so fast.
Oh.
John.
Wasn't Abrams, was it?
No, not Abrams. John what? Played in the NFL, son. The guy could fly. But
not a very big guy, kind of like Howard Stevens.
Right. But we were super good on defense. Avery, that's it. Thanks, Pat. Yeah. It's John Avery. And the sloppy, wet, muddy conditions kind of slowed him down a little bit, and our defense just had a field day. What I remember about that game the most was Kevin Sluter. He was my roommate, or I was his roommate that year. I'd moved in with him and Rob Morgan for a year. People remember Polo's East Apartments there at Mississippi State, and we actually shared we shared a bedroom. His half of the room was his, and half the room was mine. Anyway, Kevin, I'll never forget, in that 96 Egg Bowl, recovering a fumble. Kevin could absolutely fly. He came to state as an undersized defensive lineman out of Pensacola, Florida. And when we signed, he only weighed like 225 pounds. He's 6'5", ran a legit 4.6. He could fly. But as a defensive lineman at 225, he's got to put on all this weight. Well, early on in his career, they put him on the kickoff team. He could beat everybody down the field, and he's a D lineman. By the time he, got to his junior, senior year, Kevin was playing at like 280, 285 pounds. But he could still fly. But anyway, in 96, big D lineman picks up a fumble and returns it all the way to what would that be, the north or south? The south end zone there at Ole Miss. And he's so by himself, nobody could run with him. And he gets down there and he's holding the football, and then he stands in the end zone and looks up in the fans, and he didn't know how to celebrate. He didn't
He had never been there before.
He'd never been there before. And we laughed because all he did is he just stood there flat-footed, dropped the ball, and then just pointed up at the fans. Just pointed right at them. Just pointed at them.
Kind of like Mark Wahlberg's movie, Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah, kind of like that. It was great. Kevin could absolutely fly.
Well, look, man, if he's 6'5" and you're 6'5", knowing most of the apartments in Starkville, man, there wasn't a whole lot of room in there once you two boys got in there.
Yeah. See, and the thing was, though, I went to bed on time. I was doing what I was supposed to do. Kevin would stay out. I didn't have to worry about him too much. We hardly ever saw Kevin. No, but he would also come back from his family. Kevin Sluter's family would come up and tailgate at state games. They bring their RV, and they used to RV in a lot that is beyond, kind of across the street from the new north end zone of the Davis Wade Stadium. And a lot of years, their RV was right next to or in the vicinity of Sonny Clower, Jerry's brother.
Yeah.
That's where I got to meet Sonny Clower. And anyway, we'd go out there and stuff. And a lot of years, they were big turkey hunters, his dad and stuff. And so they would bring and fry a couple of turkeys every year, and then cut it up and then freeze it. And they'd bring him all kinds of food like that, good food like that, and put it in this big freezer that we had in that apartment. And Kevin would get so mad at us because we'd eat all his food up. Rob and I we get a little hungry. We just dig in the freezer and be like, Kevin, that's Kevin's fried turkey. Well, get it out. He'll get some more. And his food kept disappearing.
He should have stayed at home more.
He should have been at home. And he would have known that was going on. We ate all his food up. Okay. A couple things. Let me kick this in gear here. I got to see what people are saying on Reaction Monday. Y'all call, text, or comment on the live stream. Anybody watching the live stream can tell I've got one of these situations going where there's something hanging off the bill of my cap and I can't get it. Mark on the Davini Equipment phone line. Thanks for calling, Mark. What's up?
What's going on, Matt? How you doing today?
I'm just right. Hope you are as well.
Good deal. I am too. Look, did you see the LSU Arkansas game or replay of it?
No, I only listened to it on the radio. I hadn't seen any of it.
There was a play in the game that Mark Curls was the referee.
Okay.
And they had a fumble on the play, so they went to review. Arkansas came out of the pile with the ball. LSU fumbled the ball. He comes back, and this is the reply that he has over the microphone. There was an apparent fumble, but there was no clear recovery on the field.
Okay.
And Matt Stinchcomb, I thought his head was going to explode. He couldn't understand the call, and I couldn't either. If a team comes out of the pile with the ball, there was an apparent recovery. And if I was the coach for Arkansas, I would still be on that field arguing with them about us recovering the ball.
Well, you know, so the guy comes out of the pile. He's holding the football, but they're saying there's no apparent recovery. I mean, I'm just trying to my way of trying to kind of get inside somebody's head and figure out what they could have been thinking. Was it a deal where?
Well,
what do you think?
There was an apparent. He said there was an apparent fumble, but there was no clear recovery by a team. So I was sitting there thinking too. I'm sitting there thinking as an official. So the ball was just laying there on the ground and nobody got it. So they gave it back to LSU.
Yeah.
Somebody had to recover the ball.
Somebody had to recover it, but you're telling me, and I didn't see it, but you're telling me somebody came out of the pile with it. And I will tell you this, Mark.
That's right.
I had somebody, a friend of mine who was watching the game that texted me. I was driving Saturday during that game to Athens, and my buddy texted me 2 or 3 times about how bad the officiating was and the reviews and all this kind of stuff.
It was very bad. And there was also one, they called an apparent leg whip on one of the linemen for Arkansas as they were driving to go ahead. And, I mean, they replayed it 3 or 4 times. There was no leg whip. I don't know who they saw leg whipping somebody. It must have been one of the cheerleaders on the other end of the field. But nobody saw it.
Hey.
But I was just wondering if you saw that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see it. I'm going to go back and look for it because I hadn't had a chance.
Yeah, look for it in the game. Now, and here's another thing. Do you think the NCAA or the SEC is going to do anything about all of the posing that we have to do now when we make a big play? Everybody's got to fold their arms or do the little cheerleader dance at the end zone when they score a touchdown. I've gotten to where it bothers me a lot. I just don't like to see it. Every time we make a play, we got to stand there and look at somebody, or we got to say something. Do you think in the future they will address it?
Will they address it? I think at some point in the future, I don't know that they're going to have to, Mark. Here's what I mean about that is I think that kind of stuff comes and goes. Like it has cycled in where it's the in thing to do. At some point it'll cycle out where it's not as big of a deal. Yeah. But, you know, in terms of addressing it, the way things are going, I don't really know how they would address it, because all in the world it is making it a judgment call for the officials, right? Like it's just going to be totally a judgment call for the officials. And I don't know if they're going to want to do that.
Well, I just get I don't know about you guys, but it just kind of exasperates me. It's like, hey, you made a good play. I know there's excitement. Don't get me wrong. There's excitement. I understand that. But just getting to the end zone and striking a pose, kind of like Madonna, you know, I don't understand it.
You know,
it kind of bothers me. I guess I'm just an old man, and it bothers me at times. You know.
Well, so. You're not that old, but you did bring up Madonna. Those of us who remember Madonna, we're getting on up there. Hey, I'll tell you this, Mark. The one that I don't like is when, let's say, on the 1 or 2 yard line, the running back walks into the end zone. The hole was big enough they didn't even touch him, and he walks into the end zone. And then his entire celebration begins and is all about him. He's got 3 or 4 linemen who, by the way, opened this hole for him. that are kind of coming up behind him wanting to join in, and he won't even turn and acknowledge his lineman who made the hole. It's all about me. Look at the touchdown that I scored when, frankly, anybody could have scored that touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think a lot of this is nowadays, and I understand how the game has evolved. Don't get me wrong. And I was calling a basketball game, and I had a kid turn around, called a foul, and he looked at me and he goes, "That's bull." Mm-hmm. And so I whacked him with a technical. Mm-hmm. And the coach says, "Hey, Mark, what did he say?" And I said, "Well, Coach, this is what he said." And I told him, he said, "That was bull." Mm-hmm. And he says, "So that warrants a technical?" And I said, "Every time in high school basketball, Coach, that warrants a technical." I don't understand. I said, "He may talk to you that way. He may talk to his parents. But we're not going to do this out on the court, okay?" And I think a lot of it is that people nowadays, they've seen so much in the NFL and in the college of striking a pose and trash talking and everything that it's dwindled down a lot. And John will probably, JB will mention it too. They do a lot of it in high school sports now. They try to do a lot of trash talking, which we discourage.
Mm-hmm. Mark, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
All right, man. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, you too. I'm still thinking about that Madonna reference, striking a pose like Madonna. I love it.
My man Mark, he can bring back those memories.
I'm right there.
Hey man, I sent you something about hot wings.
Hot wings.
You might want to check it out.
All right, I'll peel my eyes and see what I can find. We're rolling. It's Monday. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence or order it online or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and the dirty's all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to.
Studio. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
I'm so glad you sent that to me, JB. I am so glad.
I figured you'd get a kick out of it.
You sent that to me. Back on the show, y'all. Welcome in. Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. I'm staying connected to you, not just while we're on the air, but really I stay connected to you around the clock because of C Spire, the number one network in Mississippi. I told you, I guess it was on Friday's show, it came up how at one point I dwindled the social media down, and now I actually was considering getting rid of all social media, but C Spire makes it so easy. So we still got it going, but I don't follow a lot of stuff. I don't look at a lot of stuff. I have found that, JB, for me, I draw a real clear line, and I don't try to muddy it too much. I can either be a consumer or I can be a producer, but I really can't be both.
No, it's hard to do both.
And I have in recent, really months, this is not a recent thing, but recent months, I made the decision. It's in my nature. It's what I do to produce stuff and content. It's just not, I can't sit around consuming it anymore. So I cut out my Twitter follower, who I follow on Twitter. I don't look at Facebook. I only put stuff on Facebook. I don't watch TV. I'm not even watching games hardly anymore other than the one I'm at. And I'll go back and watch one if I'm interested in something, like Mark told me to watch for a play in the LSU Arkansas game. I'll do it. I didn't watch a snap last night of the Chiefs and the Raiders. Well, it looked like a great game according to the score, but I was pecking away on my computer last night editing a high school football piece that I'm working on. So I'm doing this. If I'm sportsing or social media-ing, I'm trying to produce stuff, not consume stuff. With that said, JB, I want to thank you for tweeting this at me because I want to address this real quick and then we'll move on. Somebody, I don't know how JB saw it, but he saw it. Somebody named Rachel says, "Bruh, there's actually feathers on my hot wings. Never eating again." And then there's a picture, a hot wing, fried, got some sauce on it, whatever. And yeah, okay, there's little feathers coming off of it. Some feathers didn't get plucked. The feathers got fried, not plucked. And because of that, we're never eating again. I will read to you my encapsulation of this because I retweeted it on Twitter. Where else would I retweet it? Redundant, whatever. First of all, real wings come with real bones off real chickens with feathers. Second, bruh, you're eating chicken, bruh. Acting offended, bruh, because it's got feathers, bruh. Millennials, bruh. I mean, my chicken wing has it's a chicken. You ought to be celebrating the fact that it's like organic. It's original. It's got bones in it. This actually came from a chicken. I got no problem with it. I mean, we've come to this place as a society where an actual feather off an actual chicken, a real one which you are eating, has grossed you out. You won't eat anymore, you say. Here's a lesson for you. Do you realize that people used to have chickens running around in their yard for two purposes? 1, eggs. 2, fried chicken. You mean they would eat their pet chickens? They weren't pets. They never were pets. They were never meant to be pets. Well, Matt, what did they do when they wanted to fry the chicken? I'll tell you what they did. They sent the kid out in the yard, catch the chicken, and bring it in here. The kid caught the chicken, wrung its neck, use your imagination, and then brought it in, and they feathered the thing in a house and cleaned it and fried it. They sat around the table and said to each other, hey, which one is this? It may have had a name, but they ate it and were happy to have it.
Oh, yeah, that's why I had respect for my grandmother. I went out with her, I was probably 5 or 6 maybe, and it scared the bejeebers out of me because I saw this little 4'10" lady go over and pick up a chicken, put her hand around the neck, and just snake it like you would a towel, like a cat tail, rat tail. And, man, she would tell me whatever to do, and I did it when she told me. Because I was scared she's going to snap me like that.
And we got people on Twitter with a picture, one little bitty wing attached to that fried wing there. And therefore, bruh, I'm never eating again. Okay, fine. Give it to me. I'll eat it. Feather and all. Oh, by the way, you probably eat more feathers than that every night you lay your head down on your goosed down pillow. You don't even know you're eating those feathers. Grossed out. Get a grip, people. Now, I'm not talking about go too far with this. I'm not saying go out here and start eating bat soup. I'm not saying eat these crazy little animals they bring in from overseas. Don't eat that stuff. Chicken, eat all of it. Feathers, go ahead. It will not hurt you. Where were we? Where am I? Who is this?
What show is this?
All right.
Is this the Gridiron? We're talking about food for 15 minutes?
Yeah, food for 15. I mean, not only would Chris Brooks not eat it, he won't eat anything unless it's white bread and peanut butter and Little Debbie snack cakes. All right. Here we go. Country Please and text line. 885-3776. Unnamed texter says the last time State wore the Flying M helmets in Oxford, Joe Reed and Frank Dowsing led a 19-14 win. All right. Cool.
That had to be like 70 or 71.
Yeah. Anthony from Tupelo says they just released it. Burrow's knee is shredded because of the offensive line that Cincinnati has. He's been getting abused all season. Yeah, I saw that. JB sent that to me also. Joe Burrow tore his ACL, MCL, and suffered other structural issues in his knee. That's really terrible. So, it's like, I don't know if it's Teddy Bridgewater level, but it sounds like it anyway.
Yeah. It's it's kind of an unhappy triad, as they usually say.
Yeah.
ACL, I had ACL, MCL, and meniscus. And if you do that ACL, MCL, and lateral, then that's the unhappy triad, which sounds like that's what he has.
Right. Over here on the live stream, let me back up, look at a couple of comments right here. Roland said, let's talk about the 2008 Egg Bowl. Boy, that was fun. 45-0. I was there for it. Okay, so that was a year before I joined the radio crew in any capacity. And so I went with Annabeth to the game. We had gotten married earlier that summer. And Rob and Lana, brother and sister-in-law, are sitting in a couple sections over in another part of the stadium. We're down there in that kind of corner of the new end zone there in Oxford. This is 08. And, man, it's just Jevin Sneed to Mike Wallace or whoever it was, just over and over and over and over. And, I mean, it's like men against boys, and State could not even barely get a snap off, much less score. And people were getting hurt. It was just – it was as one-sided, lopsided as a game could be. 45-0. It looked like about 145-0. That's how that game was going. And at some point, it's like 30-something, nothing, whatever it was. Well, JB, the people that run the cameras all over that stadium, that are camera operators, replay, video board operators, all those people are hired on the weekends. They come over from WTVA television in Tupelo. They're all WTVA affiliate employees, and they go work Ole Miss games on a weekend, right? Well, they were our co-workers for years. Annabeth and I both. We both worked at TV station. We know all of them. And Annabeth even was still at that time, I think, maybe working with some of them. So the camera operator, a guy named Jim that we know, is directly across the stadium from us, operating one of the big cameras. He's up under the video board on that end. She texted him what our seats were. He focuses on us and puts us on the video board. So Annabeth, these people around us are all waving at the camera and everything. It's 30-something to nothing. State's getting smoked. And I look up and realize they've got my face on the video board sitting next to her. Well, I refuse to make eye contact with the camera or smile or nothing. I wouldn't even. All the rest of them around me are going crazy like it's a New Kids on the Block concert. Woo, woo. And I'm emotionless, will not look at the camera, will not smile, nothing. Because the whole reason they put us on there was to rub it in for dear old Matt sitting in the stands having to watch this drubbing. I don't know that I've ever forgiven Jim for that.
Oh, man, let that go. That's not worth hanging on to.
Let it go. Be like Elsa. Let it go.
Yeah.
It was ugly. It was ugly. It turned around the next year. So, as ugly as that was, as big a blowout as that was, Mullen comes in there. That game, because of how ugly it was, that game basically was the final nail in Sylvester Croom's tenure as the head coach at State. They go out and hire Dan Mullen the following month. He coached for Florida in the title game and then came to State the next year, beat Ole Miss, turned it around on them. Beat them, 3 straight, 9, 10, 11. All right, everybody, Jason, Greg, I'm coming to all y'all next. Stick around in the Farm Bureau studio.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan, put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson.
You love football. So does he. It's the Matt Wyatt Show. Nobody breaks down quarterback play better than him. And he's right here, right now. Online at thezone1059.com. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio here on this Reaction Monday. Keith on the live stream said, 2011 is when Mullen made that comment about never losing to that team again. Not the smartest thing he ever said. Hey, and you saw this weekend, I didn't see it. I had someone tell me about it. Apparently there was a big stink over Mullen not approving of the Vanderbilt visiting locker room. He just basically said it wasn't suitable for a team, right? So he didn't even go in there. They didn't get dressed in the locker room. They didn't go in there at halftime. None of that. Just wouldn't even go in there, right? Yeah. And part of it is it's too cramped. We're in a COVID world. You got us crammed in there like sardines. And then after the game, Mullen tweeted a picture from the airplane, and it said, look at this beautiful orange and blue sunset. And I couldn't help it. I probably shouldn't have, but I retweeted it and said, well, the locker room's too cramped, but the plane isn't. ... And in the word, the point I was trying to get across is what Pete said on "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
That don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense. All right, hanging on for quite some time. Sorry to do that. Gator Greg on the Davini Equipment phone line. What's up, Greg?
Well, Mr. Wyatt, a couple of things. I'm mad you should have won the game the other night. They would have clinched it for the Gators. That was a winnable game. I mean, come on now. Georgia's already lost to Alabama and Florida. Joe lost to Arkansas. You should have won the game. I mean, I love my guy Wiley. He dropped a touchdown pass. He gets that touchdown, you probably win that game, right?
Well, they went on and scored right after it. Yeah, they punched it in.
But I guess my point, that was a winnable game, and you played well enough to win it, and I appreciate the effort. Everybody's dealing with the COVID.
Yeah.
You should have won the game. Maybe, and I guess this is the deal. Would the same narrative be if you played like that against Ole Miss but lost the game? Would all the people be great effort? Yeah. You're supposed to win the game. They played well enough.
Let me just devil's advocate.
To win the game.
Let me just devil's advocate you here real quick, Greg, just to get your response on this. I think the reactions to that type of game against Georgia versus that type of game against Ole Miss are different because Ole Miss doesn't have Georgia's type of players. Nobody has signed more 4-star players and 5-star players over the last 2-3 years than Georgia has.
Okay, Mr. Wyatt, Florida's got 3-star players. They stomped Georgia. Alabama's got the 4 stars. They stumbled. The effort, the execution, the coaching, I want you to win the game. I'm just greedy. Paying a good coach $5 million. You got to take advantage of those, just like you got. Let's transition to Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
He was down. What Mahomes do? Went down the field, led your Chiefs to victory. I was pulling for your Chiefs, Mr. Wyatt, except when they play the Saints in a couple of weeks, because I hope the Saints run them off the stadium. But anyway, that's just my point. I like the effort, but I just think you should have won it. It's hard to get a victory, and, I think you guys should have won the game. I'm a little bit like JB. Let's get the win. All right, Mr. Wyatt, you have a good day.
You too, Greg. Thank you. No, I actually agree with you. I mean, it's, they could have won the ball game. Got beat in the fourth quarter. I've talked about the reasons. I think it makes sense. Georgia, frankly, should have been able to win the fourth quarter. It doesn't mean, though, that as a team that you use that as an excuse and say, well, they won the fourth quarter, so ho-hum. No, not at all. But, yeah, Is
that not why you stick 4 fingers in the air when that clock runs out from the third quarter?
Yeah, that's right. And it just makes sense. It makes total sense to me. One team pretty short-handed, so you're not playing as many different players. Means the guys who have played, a lot of them have played more snaps, whereas the other one can maybe spread those reps out. They're supposed to be able to do that, pay their coaches a lot of money too. And I looked up, and that was the biggest difference was their yardage, a little over 100 yards, whatever it was, and 1 score in the fourth quarter for Georgia, and 38 yards of offense and no score for State in the fourth quarter. So you lose the fourth quarter, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
But Georgia,
well, home team, home game.
Yeah, but they've got, look, I mean, it is a fact that they've got Georgia has recruited and signed and is suiting up twice as many future NFL players as State is. That's not the case at Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss, somebody commented on the live stream and said Ole Miss's passing game is greater than Georgia's passing game. Ole Miss's offense is greater than Georgia's offense. And, yeah, I think so. I think Ole Miss's offense is harder to defend. Now, the thing is, all year long, you've been watching Georgia without a quarterback like JT Daniels. Ole Miss has had Matt Corral, who's very good. Okay, very good. He ain't just putting up numbers. I mean, he's good. And they've never had an issue with him. He's played in every game. No injuries, no nothing. Daniels, okay, what is Georgia? What do you know? What do you think? What are we talking about with Georgia if, number one, George Pickens had played every game, and number two, what if JT Daniels had played every game for them? That's probably a little bit of a different story. But this I do know, that's just one side of the ball, all right? One side of the ball. Defensively, Georgia has been pretty good. And they gave up a ton of points to Alabama, but everybody has. And they gave up a ton of points to Florida, but everybody has. And they do have a lot of talent on that side of the ball. So people will make a point and go, Ole Miss's passing game greater than Georgia's passing game. Well, it has been. Ole Miss's offense greater than Georgia's offense. Well, it has been with Georgia playing Stetson Bennett. And he's about this tall. Okay? But what about defense? Do the defense for me. Okay, it's the other way. It's not even close. So that's why I don't think, it's apples and oranges to go, well, what if State does the same thing with the same kind of result against Ole Miss? Well, of course you're not happy with it. One, because it's your rival and you look at the game differently. But two, Ole Miss is good on one side of the ball, and that's it. It's two totally different things. Georgia has probably on their football team right now, out of all 4 classifications, Georgia has about 20 to 25 future NFL players. Ole Miss got about, 5 total? So don't compare the two now. Don't compare them. And therefore, in reality, Ole Miss favored in the game, and I think they should be. They have a lot of experience. They have played very well. Their offensive line has been really good, and you wonder, okay, one of the best parts of State's team all year, maybe the most consistent part of State's team all year, has been its defensive front and front seven. Well, now in a matchup against Ole Miss, they go in there against an offensive line that has been as good as anybody all season. Does it negate? How does that play out? Because if you don't get pressure on Matt Corral, which a lot of people haven't, if you don't affect him in the pocket somehow, you ain't covering them. You're not covering Elijah Moore. If there's not a collapsing pocket forcing him, and the thing about Corral is he can move. He runs around really well. He's tough. He's hard to defend. Okay, but I know this. If you just sit back and, we'll just cover and rush three, no, you won't. You get eaten alive. They have good receivers. They have a lot of experience on the offensive line. We talked about this coming into the year. Their entire team at Ole Miss had 70, I believe it was 74 or 75 returning lettermen. That's the most in the SEC. In other words, players coming in this year, players who had played in college games before, they had more than everybody. The next most was Texas A&M. Well, when you have a limited offseason and a new staff, those things have really helped them, I think. Now, you go, well, you just told me how bad their defense is, Matt. Well, I did, and they hadn't been able to stop anybody. So it's not always experience is the best thing. You want good players regardless of what age they are. You want guys who can make plays regardless of what age they are. But in a year where you didn't get as much run up and as much prep and didn't get to practice as much in the spring, you might have had less of a hill to climb in the early part of this fall season, abbreviated fall season, to install things and get players to understand it and where to line up and how to operate and how to run this play and how to run that, because you got older, more experienced guys. And I think it's helped them. I think it really has. You know, another thing about it, too, that is probably a disadvantage for State going in there is with a limited, short roster, going and playing a ball game the week before, play your guts out, turn around and do it again the next week. Whereas Ole Miss, because of COVID on the other side, A&M didn't have to play a game this past week. They get it's like having an open date, ahead of the game. And I would think that would be an advantage for Ole Miss. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes for some teams, they do better when they get to kind of have the normal routine week to week to week and play a game the week before. But, I just think short on numbers, short on depth, on the road, I think State will be able to score. But it is probably going to be one of those things where you just circle that defensive front. 3 guys with their hands down, 3 linebackers, another moving in there, and how they line up and pressure the line of scrimmage. Just circle that for State's defense, and that'll tell you the game. That's my thoughts on Monday. Previewing how many battles is this for the Golden Egg? What number? I'd have to look it up. Let's see. Be 114. This will be the 115th. The 115th Battle for the Golden Egg, or something like that. All right, hour 3 coming up. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Gobble, gobble. It's Turkey Week. Thanksgiving week. It's here. I'm a little embarrassed, JB, that for the first 2 hours of today's show, we didn't even talk about Thanksgiving. I just talked about football.
Well, I think that's what people expected on a Monday, overreaction Monday.
I
mean, you could talk about, I had this conversation with a couple golfers this morning. For me, Christmas happens every day, and Thanksgiving happens every day.
Mm-hmm.
And there are just a couple times a year that we emphasize on why they need to be something that happens every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Well, and something that happens every day is Chris Brooks and him talk about food, so I figured we'd talk football. That's just basically what it was.
Well, yeah. I mean, when he was talking something like Thanksgiving side dishes.
They're all side dishes.
They are. and then he talks about how much he hates turkey.
Oh.
So
look, it ain't possible to hate turkey.
No.
It's just not possible to hate
He
turkey.
said he would rather have chicken in his gumbo than turkey. And I'm going, once they get in the gumbo, you don't know if it's chicken or turkey.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you I could do my gumbo, and he would not know if I put chicken or turkey in there.
If you do it right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hates turkey.
Hates turkey. How can you hate?
Look, this is what you do radio, okay? He's figured it out. This is what you do. Here, I'm going to act it out. I'm playing a part. Here we go in 3, 2. I can't stand turkey. It's the awfulest food in the world. Call me on the Davini Equipment phone line, 995-1059. See? That's how you do radio.
Well, and like that liner that we have for him, he invites strange people to bring food by the studio. Hey, where's the lasagna?
Okay, and look, I'm really ashamed that I waited this long. I'm almost half an hour since Caleb sent this. Caleb said, do you happen to have a clip from the end of last year's Egg Bowl? And I saw that. Well, right after he commented with that on the live stream to the show here, a person who goes by the moniker on YouTube of Skip Bayless 06 began to comment. This apparently is an Ole Miss fan or pretending to be one or the other. What we do know is it is a person that is pretending to be something he's not. He's not Skip Bayless. Okay, so there's your first clue. There is your first clue.
And watch you Skip Bayless.
And so he says this. He's got several comments in here. He goes, Elijah goes off for 3 touchdowns against State, and Mingo makes the Cowboy cry as he, who's the Cowboy, by the way? As he wishes he had a wide receiver that was Mingo's caliber. Who's the Cowboy?
I think he's talking about Will Rogers. And Mingo and Rogers were on the Brandon High School team together.
Oh,
Mingo's
okay.
a year old.
Okay, I got it. Well, he's the one who said the Ole Miss passing game is greater than the Georgia pass game. And in the offense is. But I asked him to do the defense, and he wouldn't do it. And he says Kirby isn't who people want him to be. He is Rick, who happened to graduate from Georgia. Actually, that's wrong also. Mark Richt never stacked up the kind of recruiting classes that Kirby Smart already has at Georgia.
No, and different ends of the ball, because Rick was more of an offensive guy, and they wanted defense and got Muschamp, and basically you've still got the same team.
His next comment was this. And Georgia has lost how many games with all those NFL players on defense, Matt? Well, that would be 2. It'd be 2 games they've lost, It's a good bit fewer than Ole Miss has lost. He goes, will they win the East? I doubt it. And then he says, stop deflecting, Matt. Now, he didn't use a comma there, so it means there's somebody named Matt who I am deflecting. He says, you know that Levy's offense is going to slice right through that defense. Well, I wasn't going to do it, but since it's Egg Bowl week and he began the snippiness, I'm going to grant Caleb's request.
Logan has missed 2 extra points this year. This is a 35-yarder. Snap is down. Kick is away. I think he missed it. He missed it. He missed it. He missed it wide right. A Elijah Moore, there are flags everywhere because the whole state team has run on the field.
There you go.
Is that you in the background going, woo?
I don't think I did the woo, but somebody did.
You could hear it. That's for sure.
It might have been. It might have been Jay, but I don't want to pin it on Jay. He might have. Jay's known to do a woo every now and then. Jay was the other night. We got a video. It was all over television when Will Rogers completed that back shoulder throw to Cyrus Mitchell on the big third down completion, and then they go score, right?
Yeah.
And when he caught it, the thing is they had to review to see if his foot was in or not. And he caught the ball, and they landed right in Jay Perry's lap. Jay is our sideline reporter for our radio program. They landed right in his lap, just ran all over him, right on national television. And Jay immediately began pleading very dramatically with the officials to call it in. If y'all go back and watch that game, Jay was like, "What? He's in? Oh, man, come on." That's great.
Do you ever get your credentials revoked for that?
Nah. Well, I don't think it was like audibly. It was just he's about 10 feet away, and he's into it. And
the reason I'm asking is like last night and yesterday, I mean, you could hear every word these NFL QBs and people are saying. Matter of fact, Mahomes walked up to a zero coverage, and that's the first thing he said. We got zero coverage. And he throws a touchdown. You know, but it amazes me the things that you can hear now because there are no fans in the stadium. So I wonder if that's the same thing going on with these college games as well.
Right. You can hear all of it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Here in hour number 3, presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Hey, speaking of, if y'all are headed that way, like Homecoming Queen had to head that way. She had to take her little boy Champ to the Mississippi State vet today. And we're hoping everything's going to be cool. He's getting on up there. He's older. But you ought to do like us, okay? Go to Overstreet Properties. Tell them what you're looking for. Hey, we're not moving to Starkville, but we come to town a bunch, and we kind of need a place that's ours, kind of a condo that's there. And we come in town, we can just call it home for a day if we need to. Whether it's coming in for ball games or anything, and we have it. And I point you to them. If you're in the market for something like that, absolutely go to Overstreet Properties. Tell Kane Overstreet I said hi. Contact info online, overstreetproperties.com. On Friday night in Class 6A, Clinton advanced past Warren Central 18-14. That was a heck of a ball game too. And Clinton advances to the North Half Championship game against Oxford, who beat Hernando 41-26. Oxford is the defending Class 6A champs. I'm assuming that game will be at Clinton. We'll look at that. At Oxford. Also in Class 6A in the South half of the state, Oak Grove beat up on Harrison Central 41-14. Northwest Rankin beat D'Iberville 29-28. What a ball game. What a ball game. Two teams from the Metro could potentially meet in the state championship. Could potentially. I do think the other two teams are the two best teams, Oxford and Oak Grove. So we'll see. That's 6A.
That was the two teams that played in it last year again. I'm getting word, and my research is kind of boggling me, but looks like Oxford will be coming to Clinton.
Okay.
I'm trying to confirm that with a couple of sources, but that's what it looks like right now. So if anybody has any more solid info, let me know, please.
Okay. All right. Y'all let us know. In 5A, West Point and Ridgeland advance. So Ridgeland beating Neshoba Central twice this year. And so West Point and Ridgeland meet for the North Half in 5A. In the South, West Jones and Pascagoula. West Jones beat Laurel. Pascagoula beat Hattiesburg. In 4A, Itawamba advances. What happened to Pontotoc? I don't see that score here. I'm missing it.
I didn't see it either.
All right, to look that one up. Anyway, Itawamba advances. They'll play somebody in the north. And then in the south, in 4A, it's Poplarville versus Mendenhall. Poplarville beat North Pike 62-6. Mendenhall 26-19 over Sumrall. Okay, 3A. What a ball game. Winona beat Amory 45-35, so Winona advances. Noxubee County beat up on North Panola 39-14, so they advance. So it's Winona-Noxubee for the north half in 3A. In the south in 3A, Columbia got past West Marion 18-13, and McGee shut out Raleigh 35-0. McGee looks like they're on a mission, and that'll be in the south. In 2A, East Union beat Northside. The Urchins advanced to their first North Half championship. What happened with East Webster Calhoun City? Did East Webster win that one? So if anybody listening, text me that. Union at Taylorsville. Who won that one? I figured Taylorsville won. I don't know the score, but I know Taylorsville won. And Enterprise Clark beat Scott Central 21-14. So it sets up a rematch in the South 2A to go to the state championship between Enterprise Clark and Taylorsville. Taylorsville beat them in the regular season with a last-second kind of Hail Mary throw at the end of the fourth quarter. And in 1A, Biggersville with a win over Tupelo Christian 32-17. Nanawaya with a win over Baldwin 36-3. So it's Biggersville, Nanawaya for the 1A north half this weekend. In the south, Simmons over Sebastopol 56-26. Lumberton beat Stringer 34-6. And so it'll be Simmons-Lumberton this Friday night. We'll take a look at matchups and all of those. Let's see here. I'm going to go back over to 4A. Oh, it's Louisville. Okay, so Louisville beat Pontotoc. So in 4A for the north half, it'll be Itawamba at Louisville. We'll look at some of those matchups where they are, but it does look like it's at Clinton, the 6A north half. Oxford going to Clinton to be 11-0 at 10-2.
Yeah, that's really shocking to me. I talked with a dad whose son plays safety for Clinton, and he said that either way, one of the two teams would have had 3 home playoff games. So how Clinton got that, I got no idea.
Yeah, I got
you. But they did.
Okay. We got a special caller or callers on the Davini Equipment phone line. It is Egg Bowl week, and I want to hear a little Kiffin and a little Leach. See, normally you could hear Leach right now if his press conference started on time. But it hasn't, and it won't. So we'll do our own Kiffin and Leach on the Davini Equipment phone line during the week of Egg Bowl. Coaches, you have the floor.
Hi, Matt. This is me, Coach Kiffin.
Coach Kiffin.
Yep.
What do you think about your first? What do you think about your first Egg Bowl?
It's going to be pretty good. It's pretty exciting. Like it isn't. Not like the other past rivalries I've had, like USC and UCLA, where it's a little bit more friendlier. But we're getting pretty ready for it.
All right, Coach Leach, your first egg. What do you think?
Well, we're going to get a little bit better this week. I think we're going to do a lot better. Will looks pretty good. And I think we're going to play a little bit better. This is going to be a little bit better offense than we've seen in the other schools that we played.
Let me step in, Coach Leach, real quick. What do you think of Coach Kiffin?
Well, he's pretty good. He's pretty formidable. And last time we played, it was he held me to about 3 points in the USC and Washington State game. We beat him 10-7. But, he does a pretty good job over there at Ole Miss, so it should be a pretty good game.
Pretty good. That's good. The impressions are pretty good. All right, coaches, thanks for the call. Good luck on Saturday.
All right.
DJ on the Davini Equipment phone, the aforementioned Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. DJ, thanks for hanging on. What's up?
How y'all doing today?
Just right.
Well, just to give some information about why Clinton is hosting Oxford, the way the MHSA does it, it's predetermined at the North State and the South State. If the teams have played the same number of playoff games, one year it's the odd regions that host, and the next year it's the even regions that host. So, it's both of them are number one seeds in their district. So, but you got throughout the state, I think you got 4 6A regions, you got 8 4A regions. So that's how they work that out. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I think the Metro teams have done really well. But out of the 3 Metro teams, which team do you give the best chance of winning?
Well, I would probably give it to Clinton. And you say, okay, best chance. Maybe I should say Ridgeland because they're sitting there at home, according to this, and they're a team that's already beaten Neshoba Central twice, and West Point has shown that they could be beat. So maybe I should give it to them. But I don't know. I'd probably just say Clinton being at home. They have maybe had to beat the better teams to get where they are. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. What do you think?
I would say Clinton would be the one that I give the best chance. But like I said, Ridgeland and Northwest played very good. But now let me give you the lock of the week. Okay.
All right.
The lock it, you can bank on it. Poplarville over Mendenhall. That is the lock of the week. I'll hang up with.
All right. The lock of the week. I mean, he just says lock it in.
Yeah, that's South State Class 4A.
Mm-hmm. Poplarville is hosting. See, Mendenhall is a 6-5 football team. And going to Poplarville. So, yeah. So I'm looking at the matchups for Friday night. And I'm doing this selfishly also. I want to make sure I'm familiar. Oxford goes to Clinton for the North 6A. Northwest Rankin goes to Oak Grove for South 6A. Oak Grove, they seem to be on a mission also. 5A, West Point comes to Ridgeland for the North. West Jones goes to Pascagoula for the South. In 4A, aforementioned, South is Mendenhall at Poplarville, and then the North, it's Itawamba at Louisville. 3A, Winona at Noxubee County. In the North and in the South, it's Columbia at McGee. 2A, North, it's East Union at Calhoun City. Come on with that.
That ought to be a good one. And then your next team that you've been kind of following and documenting.
Mm-hmm, yeah, Enterprise goes to Taylorsville. And I didn't see that game, but, Enterprise sitting there at 10-1. Well, that one was to Taylorsville. And it was that Enterprise regular season game, and Taylorsville's quarterback, Ty Keys, throws a bomb at the end of the fourth quarter and beats them kind of Hail Mary style. This is what I was told, but, I didn't see it, so I can't really describe it. And then in 1A, you have Biggersville at Nanawaya, 12-0 versus 11-0.
That's some pretty good salty teams right there.
And then South 1A, you have Simmons at Lumberton. Yeah. So I'm trying to look here. McGee. McGee. I know exactly where McGee is. And they're hosting Columbia for the South State. See, what I'm looking at, JB, is I don't even know yet, but I may be in Vicksburg on Friday.
Right.
And if I am.
Follow up to Thanksgiving?
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And if I am there, but I don't know that I will be. That's the problem. I don't know that I will be. So I have to figure this out. How about Louisville and Nanawaya both hosting North Half Championships, and you could hit a driver from one place to the other, kind of theoretically. I mean, it's the same county. Ridgeland, yeah. Okay, so those are your matchups. I really would love to see that 1A. I've been to Nanawaya already. I'd love to see Simmons at Lumberton. I've never been to a game at Lumberton. Where's Lumberton located?
Lumberton is just south of Hattiesburg on 59.
Yeah, okay.
About probably about 30 minutes. Great camp there called King's Air Ranch back in the day. I used to take our youth there, and matter of fact, I spent 5th and 6th grade summer there.
Yeah, okay.
Right outside of Poplarville and Lumberton. It's all right there together.
It's all there together, huh?
Yep.
What county is McGee in?
McGee is in Simpson County.
Simpson County?
If I'm not mistaken, yes. The Trojans. My father-in-law, God rest his soul, was a state champion there in 1952.
Okay. Columbia is at McGee. East Union, Calhoun City. All right. There we go. There they are. For the marbles. Win or go home. The winners will reconvene the following week.
At the vet.
At the vet.
And if you're talking about bad locker rooms, send Mullen in there. You'll feel like you went back to 1952.
I mean, come on,
father-in-law.
Dan. I know Dan's trying to make a point, but I'm like, I want to be like that millennial. Hey, bruh, the locker room's too cramped for you, but y'all going to pile up on an airplane and fly home.
Exactly.
Okay, that's just...
The opulence of waste is simply astounding with him.
The whatever of those words is astounding. Okay, rolling along, hour 3, about a half hour left between me and you. So stick around in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio.
Purchasing a home can be
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' Sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' Sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
a lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
Okay, but he's right here, right now. Online at 1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Back with you. Rolling along. Y'all can be a part of the show if you're tuned into the live stream. Comment, questions, opinions over there on the live stream. I can see it. We had some people really excited for Egg Bowl week. Cody commented on the live stream earlier. He said, even if the teams stink, it's Egg Bowl craziness. It is an annual gift from our Lord, he says. He then said, sir, the Egg Bowl is a gift from the gods of college football. Something happens every year. I mean, that's what we've had here recently. Well, like my granddad used to say, they're going to score if something don't happen. Text the show, the Country Pleasing text line, 885-3776. 885-3776. Derek says, Matt, I loved the effort. I'm not into moral victory, but I'll take the effort. It looked like the kids understood what they were doing Saturday night. Question, did Leach tweak some things on the offensive side of the ball? Not that I really noticed. Not that I really noticed. It looks like they just played better. They blocked people and, they had a few key runs. They didn't run the ball that much, but they ran it some effectively enough and then got it down on the goal line, ran it some. A couple touchdown runs for the freshman out of Greenville St. Joe. I thought that was pretty cool. From 5 yards out on the first drive, they tried to run it on third down on the goal line, didn't get in. Just had a short chip shot field goal. But, Derek, I don't really think they tweaked anything on offense. I think they just went out and did it. Hit the back a bunch, throw it underneath. I mean, Georgia was going to give it to you, but then Will Rogers was accurate, quick, made quick decisions, got up and down the field. The protection was there versus three, so then Georgia started mixing it up. That led to some opportunities, including the touchdown pass to Wally. He caught that against man-to-man coverage and then caught it over the shoulder and turned it up the sideline. Do what?
I was just going to say, per our guy that's tweeted to the text line or the live stream, do we need to start calling Will the Cowboy?
Oh, Will Rogers, the cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really think of that.
I mean, that kind of reminds me of Ponto wanting to call Garrett Strader Snuff.
I hadn't heard from Ponto in a long time. Did we run him off?
No, I think he got kind of upset with just what all was going on, and he just decided to be quiet for a while.
What do you mean what all was going on, though?
Well, he's a huge advocate for, I think, the Bulldogs, and I just don't think he liked what was going on.
Really? Wait a minute. I did not.
Especially when Schrader left. You remember he was upset when Schrader left.
Well, yeah, he was upset about that. I did not realize, though, that he was a State fan. I never took that from his calls.
Maybe I just get that from answering the phone and some of the stories he tells me.
Yeah.
Because I know Beef has quite a few of those stories as well.
Mm-hmm. Of talking to Ponto?
Oh, yeah.
One thing I do take away from Ponto's calls at all times is the fact that he's a big fan of the dancing girls from the Sonic Boom. He'll just come right out and say it. No, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, pal.
He's never hidden that fact at all. Get ready. Good old Ponto.
It's maybe him calling. Excuse me for a minute while I head to the phones.
What if it is him? I know what I'm going to talk about. If it's him, I'm not talking about Garrett Schrader and him wanting to call him Snuff. Or what I said, and then talking about anything else. If that's him, I'm just going to ask him if he's ready to talk about the Jayzettes. What else we got over here on the Country Pleasing text line? Let's see. Yep. True Maroon says, White Denzel and I run Under the Lights and high school football page on Facebook and Twitter. How about that? Okay, so you were referencing Taylorsville's already beaten Union 65-37 at one point. I was talking about this rematch between Enterprise and Taylorsville. That was a heck of a game. Touchdown with about a minute to go. Miko, you're in there with him, huh? Big fan of the Jayzettes. Ready, Teddy. Says, Matt, you had me laughing so loud just then. Well, what? Laughing at what? I don't even know what we did. I don't know what we did. How many schools out there have a coach with a nickname? Prime Time. Big finish right here. Here we go. Dadgummit. I'm ready to play. All right. Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. Gator Man gracing us with his presence. Gator Man, it is good to have a call from you. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Dang, I can barely hear you.
Well, let her rip.
All
Just
right,
go.
That's not why I called, but, the SEC is fortunate enough to have several coaches that are basically go by one name. I mean, if you think about it, or Coach O, that's a nickname. Mm-hmm. Mullen, most people call just him Mullen. Mm-hmm. Saban, Kiffin. They called Muschamp Coach Boom or Muschamp.
Right.
So there's a bunch of coaches in the SEC that have one name. They go by one names, but that's not why I called. I basically just did my entire call with JB. But I was going to ask, what do you think about Dan Mullen? Probably to his benefit and to Kyle's, maybe helping him to where he can pad some stats. Because he's clearly in Vegas has him as the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman now, and he has really no tough games besides Alabama left. We got to play Kentucky, got to play Tennessee, got to play LSU, and you think that he would maybe let him stay in a little longer, or maybe just call some more passing plays or something? Because that's all Florida really has. They're not like Bama with Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that good of a running game. All of our offense goes through Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
So, but I was going to get your take on that and what you thought about that. And everything's falling in place for the kid. You had Fields have a bad game. Okay, you had Mac Jones basically have a pedestrian game, and you had the golden boy over at Clemson miss another game, and it's going to be hard for him to climb back in it, missing all that time. What's your thoughts on that?
I think you're right that he's in the driver's seat. What I can't figure out is how people are going to view him after Alabama beats him in the SEC title game.
Yeah, I know. I don't
because it has become such a team award. I would just say that.
Well, it's actually gone back and forth, Matt, because if you go back just, I guess you'd have to go back 10 years. But
you can find examples. You're making a point. You can definitely find examples of, like a Manziel, obviously not the
Cam
best.
Newton.
Cam Newton.
Well,
but Cam Newton,
Manziel,
the thing
Tim
about it.
Tebow, that year that he won it, of course, that's going back more than 10 years. The year he won it, we lost 3 games.
That's right. But, so there are a couple examples. Cam Newton's not really a great example of that because they went and won the national title, and it was because of him.
Sure.
But I think you're right. Definitely in the driver's seat. It's just, if you go in there and your defense gives up 50 points to Alabama and you lose the game 50-something to 30-something, let's just say that happens, how are they going to view it? Because that kind of stuff, even though it maybe shouldn't, it affects those voters. So that's what I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
Sure.
Good call, Gator man. I appreciate you. Good to hear from you.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Y'all stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence or order it online or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land?
1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right. Here we are. Yes, they did have the press conference. Mike Leach got up there, talked a little bit about his team coming off the Georgia game, going into the Egg Bowl this week. It'll be his first as the coach. They had it. It lasted 12 and a half minutes. Those things are getting shorter and shorter, by the way, because the reporters, a lot of them are not even tuning in. And that's kind of like nationwide because they don't have the in-person questioning. They're tired of doing it over Zoom. So you're getting less and less people tune in.
So he makes it to his press conference on time and then talks for 12 and a half minutes.
Well, and see, it said it was posted 33 minutes ago, so it's pretty close to on time, and then it didn't last very long. Here, let's listen in. I couldn't hear the first question. I'll try to hear what it was.
I don't know. That's been very random. That's been one of the things that's tough this year is adjusting to that. Because some of these things you find out at awfully short notice.
I think that was about testing and week to week, the unknown. I don't know.
John Sokoloff. Hey, Mike. I'm just curious. What do you kind of really know about the Egg Bowl since this will be, obviously your first one?
Okay, I'm hearing the question. It's about what does he know about the Egg Bowl and is aware of it and all that stuff.
Well, I suspect I don't know quite as much about it as you, to be perfectly honest. But I do know that, just over the years, even as I was a kid, I know it was always an incredibly intense game. I know it's very meaningful to people, and I know that it's in conversation, all year round. Every day. There's not a day I don't hear somebody mention the Egg Bowl. So I know it's a very meaningful game, and I also know that there's been plenty of them that were exciting to watch long before I was ever even in the state of Mississippi. So no, it's exciting to be a part of it, and it's a great opportunity to have the chance to play in one.
Let's see if we can hear the question. All right, leaning on veteran players who've played in this game before.
Well, I think it's really important. I mean, because we definitely want to celebrate the past, and then celebrate the past and help utilize that for our foundation moving forward for the future. And I think all those guys, Tony Hughes is in that mix too. So, everybody that's been here and helped build this place, I mean, we want to draw what we can from it. Just, I guess the toughest thing is you got to do it in a really succinct fashion. I mean, otherwise, you can't just pause in the middle of practice and, touch 40 bases or something like that. But we definitely want to recognize and make sure that everybody understands that they're an important part of the.
That's about what we got. And I'll peruse it and see what comes out of that. If you want to go watch the whole thing, you can. It's posted on the Mississippi State Twitter account, which is Hail State FB. If you'd like to go see that yourself. JB,
yes, sir.
I was pointing this out earlier. I thought that it's kind of significant when you look at teams trying to win consecutive Egg Bowls. There's obviously in this rivalry, especially since it returned to campus and you started playing them again on the campuses. So if you go back, for instance, go to winsipedia.com, wins, the letter I, pedia.com, and compare the two teams in a rivalry. Just click compare and type in State on one side, Ole Miss on the other to give you the whole series history. Wins and losses, all-time ties, all this kind and current stuff. Current win streak 2 for Mississippi State, all this. But over to the right, you can click one that is a list. It says, a full list of the series. And it'll give it to you in a list form. You can just see it, and it's color-coded according to the winners over the years. And you see that in starting in the early 70s, which you'll know this, and I'm just kind of preaching to the choir, but starting in the early 70s, they started playing this thing in Jackson every year. And it didn't return to campus for almost 20 years. There's a whole bunch of kids that grew up just around here that to them the Egg Bowl was played in Jackson and that's it. But then in 91, so State hired Sherrill. He goes to work on it. He gets it done. And ever since, it's been an alternating thing as it should have been. Starkville, Oxford. And in that amount of time, this thing has really gone back and forth. No team has had since that time, since 91, no team has had a real long run of, winning a bunch of these. Now, and the point that I made was here State is trying to win 3 in a row. If they go pull this thing off, they'll win 3 in a row, 18, 19, and 20 if they pull it off. It'll be the second time that they would have won 3 in a row if they could pull it off. Nobody's done it twice since they returned to campus. Ole Miss won 3 in a row in the Egg Bowl, 02, 03, 04. State won 3 in a row in the Egg Bowl, 09, 010, 011. And trying to do it here. But the point is it's been really hard to do. Even just historically, it's been really hard, very rare for either of the programs to win 3 in a row. It just does not happen very much. To take it a step further, since we came back to campus in 91, State won 2 in a row in 93, 94. State won 2 in a row, 98, 99. As I mentioned, Ole Miss won 3 in a row, 02, 3, 4. State 3 in a row, 9, 10, 11. Ole Miss 2 in a row in 14 and 15. And now State 2 in a row in 18 and 19, trying to go 3. It's been hard to do. It's been hard to win that many consecutively. And especially on the road, you're going to go over there. The thing that I look at it, JB, is and I was on Bo's show this morning, and
yeah, I heard you.
Well, and he
did a good job.
Well, thank you. He brought up a question, and it was about, I guess Ole Miss being favored in the game, and kind of rightfully so. And I agreed. I was like, yeah, I think they do have an advantage. We're told, as far as we know anyway, they'll have a numbers advantage, just in terms of depth and number of players available and that kind of thing.
What about the old adage, you just throw the record books out for this?
Yeah, that's right. See, that's kind of what I'm getting at here.
Jake's shaking his head, scrunching his nose.
I know, he doesn't like that. You can only put 11 on the field at a time. Okay, you can put 11 people on the field at a time. I got to get 11 guys. And that sounds real old school, but there's some truth in that. We go, oh, we only got 49. Well, it can't but 11 of them go out there at a time anyway. So who are the 11? And how fresh are they in the fourth quarter? You know, that's kind of what we're drilling down to on this whole numbers thing. Okay, but and in Oxford, I don't know that this is a year where being on the road or at home makes a hill of beans to anybody, honestly. I mean, they just went to Georgia with a partial stadium. Georgia had people spread out. There was noise in there, but I don't think it was any big deal for State's players to be in front of that crowd, even at Georgia. And they sparse them out there at Oxford, it ain't going to be that big a deal. You know, it's just not. The crowd home and away this year is not a big deal. So as I began to look at it a little closer today, I do think that you saw it against Georgia. There's some improvement for State's offense, a little here, a little there. Long way to go, but a little improvement. They lack experience. Everybody that scored for State was true freshmen. Everybody that scored against Georgia is true freshmen. So they lack experience. But given what Ole Miss's defense has been this year, there just will be times in this game where State's offense is going to go up and down the field. To me, the game is, can you stop them? Well, Alabama didn't stop them. Arkansas had a little success, but that's primarily turnovers. Other teams have not stopped Ole Miss, have not stopped them. A few have found a way to beat them because the defense has been so bad. But in one way that Ole Miss's defense has really just consistently been awful is in stopping the run. They have not been able to keep anybody from running the ball. Well, see, that ain't the matchup this week.
No, what does State not do?
They don't run the ball. So because of those unknowns, because of those unknowns, I just don't think this is a thing where you go in there, even with the lack of numbers, I just don't think you go in there and say State has no chance. Ole Miss going to win by 2 touchdowns automatically. I don't see it that way. I'm not saying the old tried and true, throw out the records, it's a rivalry. What I'm saying is Ole Miss is going to score their fair share. They're going to get theirs, but there will be times State's defense is going to play like one of the better defenses they've played this year because they are one of the better defenses they've played this year. There will be a couple of times in a game where Ole Miss's offense will get put in a position they haven't been in very much because State's defense is good. And by that same token, this Ole Miss defense that can't stop anybody from running the ball, they're going to face an offense that ain't trying to run the ball. So I don't think really I think as much as any year we've had recently, it is hard to know what you're going to see going in. I do know this, it's going to be competitive. That's what I think. You know, I could easily see one where Ole Miss outlasts them and wins it in the fourth quarter, kind of like Georgia did. But I think State's got a better shot to win the thing than some people are giving them. That's just how I feel about it on Monday. See y'all tomorrow. See ya!
I am one of thousands of women with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC.